everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and I'm so excited because I'm bringing you my August 2022 favorites. So as we know, I do a favorites video every month and I love doing these because it's just an opportunity for me to round up all of the plants and plant products that really helped me out this month. I have a little bit less items, or I have a few less items than usual because my last favorites video, my July favorites video, was filmed a little bit late. So it feels like I haven't had enough time between these videos to really feel like I have a lot to say as far as favorites. So I do only have 5 today, but that's okay. We're gonna have a lot of fun chatting about them even still. Okay, first on our list, I have my Philodendron Glorious. This plant has really been sticking out to me lately because, as you can see, this new leaf is very big. It's glorious, if you will. The Philodendron Glorious is a hybrid of the Gloriosum and the Melanochrysum. So as you can see, this leaf is definitely giving Gloriosum. I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like as it matures and gets older and has bigger and bigger leaves every time, because it's gonna be big round leaves like the Gloriosum, but a climber, which is really nice. The Gloriosum is a really cool plant, but I don't love that it's a crawler instead of a climber. I pretty much prefer climbers if I had to choose. I've got a few crawlers, but again, the climbers just take up less space because they do go vertical, and I really like that. And I find that this hybrid is really, really nice. I always complain about the Melanochrysum because it's such a picky plant. It's so fickle, but when it's crossed with other things, somehow it is not picky at all. This plant is so good. I actually got it initially from JP Botanicals as a gifted plant. And that was when it was maybe 3 or 4 leaves. It had this one for sure, this one and this one, maybe one other. And I pretty quickly put it on this plank of wood and it did actually attach, but then I accidentally ripped it off and it hasn't reattached since, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, it is still using the plank as a support. As you can see, these leaves are getting bigger. And to me, that's fine. If it doesn't attach, it doesn't attach. As long as it knows that there is a support piece there for it to lean against and grow bigger leaves, I'm super happy with that. So anyway, we do have a new leaf that is starting to come out. It is emerging and it will probably be out in the next couple of weeks, maybe days, just depending on how it does. Just depending on how humid this room probably is, because I did recently move it out of the greenhouse cabinet. It just wasn't thriving in the greenhouse cabinet, and I was noticing that the leaves were kind of looking bleached out or nutrient deficient, and I took it out and then we get this leaf. So I feel like the lights in the cabinet are a bit intense. I did ask that in a previous video and some people gave me some information. I honestly would really love to have the mother grow lights in my greenhouse cabinet, but the lights are black and my greenhouse is white, and I just think that would look kind of weird. So I don't know, I'm kind of possibly on the hunt for different lights for my greenhouse cabinet. And also I might be done with the greenhouse cabinet. I really don't know. It just depends on how things out in the big greenhouse go this winter. But I'm kind of feeling like I'm not gonna want that anymore inside if I have the big one outside. I might want to build a cute little wood display cabinet. I don't really know. I've been thinking about it a lot and I might want to switch up that situation, but it's gonna be a while because the greenhouse cabinets are so hard to get. So I'm gonna take my time to really seriously consider all my options before I make any sort of changes. But it's been something that I've thought about, and people have actually asked me what I plan to do with the greenhouse cabinet once I have the big one done, which is reminding me, I feel like I should name the greenhouse, but I don't know what to name it. Anyway, Philodendron Glorious is absolutely glorious. Now, speaking of the greenhouse, I have been using a lot of tools out there, and today I wanted to highlight this tool. It's kind of covered in stuff because obviously we've been using it, but this is a 3-inch cutoff tool by DeWalt. Lots of other tool companies make a very similar tool, but it has a 3-inch, maybe 3.5 or 3-inch blade. I don't remember. It's definitely rubbed off by now. But you can't cut things too deeply. It's really only 1.5 inches right here, possibly 1 inch. Again, I don't remember the exact size of the blade. So it's for smaller projects and just cutting off stuff, as the tool name suggests, cut off tool. And I first used this when I made my watering table, when I was cutting the metal shelves to be the correct length. And that was my first time ever cutting metal, and it was super easy. I then used it again to cut off like the extra from my compost bin, because I put hardware cloth on the inside of it so that number one, animals couldn't get into it, and number two, the soil wouldn't all just like fall out once it did actually become compost. And then I used it on the greenhouse. I've been using it on the greenhouse quite a bit to cut the to cut the polycarbonate sheets because those sheets, you can cut them with a circular saw, but you need to switch to a plywood blade. And it's just like one extra step that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to have to do that. And so I started using this cutoff tool on it because it doesn't actually have teeth on the blade. The reason that you want to switch to like a smaller blade when you are cutting those polycarbonate sheets is so that it doesn't like crack it or anything. Although I do think that they are crack resistant, the twin wall, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. I have actually cut it a little bit with a regular blade and nothing bad happened. But anyway, this has been really nice because there's no stress because it doesn't have teeth at all. So it just sort of like grinds through and it cuts it like butter. Like it's amazing. And the tool is so lightweight. So it's really easy to like cut off the edge, the extra edge off of the roof, or any like quick cutting that we need to do. I really appreciate tools that are not super heavy because we do have obviously the battery pack on top of it, and some of our batteries are pretty big and heavy, so I like having a petite tool to work with. And actually I am kind of wanting to do not a tools 101 like video, but just like a intro to tools, or maybe like my tool collection and like what I use all of them for, and like maybe some tips for beginners if you are wanting to get into power tools, because power tools were super scary to me, but now I'm realizing that they are such an awesome thing to have and to be able to use. So if anybody's out there interested in that, I can definitely put something like that together. I think it would be fun to also just like have a mark in time of when I started feeling confident enough with my power tools to sort of like teach a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna be like the dads of YouTube who have all this like technical knowledge, but I have like, you know, applicable knowledge that I've been using over the last, let's say, year of learning to use them. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I will make that happen. Okay, the next plant that I want to talk about is this beauty right here. This is my Aglaonema. I'm gonna grab it. Oof. This is an Aglaonema Silver Bay, and it is by far my favorite Aglaonema ever. There's definitely a lot of Aglaonema, like some very colorful, which we know. I don't like colorful plants, but this one is a green variety with like silver margins. That's why it's called the Silver Bay. Actually, I'm just gonna completely put it in front of the camera. Let me cover my eyes so that you can actually see the plant, maybe. It's just so cool, and it's one of those more basic plants. Obviously, you can definitely find these in big box stores, but that is a big reason why I love it, because anybody could have this plant, and I truly, truly feel like anybody could make it happy. I really do, because it's such a simple care plant, and you'll oftentimes see these in offices with like no windows, with just like fluorescent lighting. And I think any plant that can survive in that kind of environment is extremely resilient. And yeah, I just love this plant. I've always loved this specific Aglaonema, or just Aglaonema in general has taught me a lot. I made a video early on talking about how, you know, the leaves have a life cycle and plants have a life cycle, and leaves are gonna die off and they're gonna grow more, and it's making energy for new leaves. And that's actually one of my most popular videos, but like, it's not exactly a good video if I have to be honest with myself. But it was my opportunity to explain, you know, when an old leaf dies, it's not the end of the world, it's gonna be okay. And so that's a big lesson that this plant has taught me, and that's a huge lesson in owning houseplants, to just learn that it's not the end of the world when a leaf dies. And I think maybe that's why this plant holds some sentimental value to me. But also at the end of the day, it's a very, very beautiful, like big leafy plant that you don't have to put a lot of energy into. And I feel like if you are going to have a more like robust houseplant collection, it needs to be well-rounded in that you have plants that are going to be the front runners, and then you're gonna have plants that are going to be like the background dancers. So this is definitely a background dancer plant. This right here, the Glorious, is a front runner plant, but this. And some would actually say that this is the main event, and then like the Glorious is the background dancer. As far as price goes, no, not at all. But yeah, this is definitely one of those plants that can just create a big green margin in your space that you don't have to worry about maintaining too much. I'd say it needs water about as often as a Sansevieria or a Dracaena. Really not that often at all, especially if you have it in good soil, in the right size pot and with the right lighting. It really doesn't need much from you at all. So set it up really well and it will reward you with lots of really beautiful growth. Mine actually has some new growth coming out right here and right here, and this new leaf just popped out. It's like hardening off right now. So all three of the pieces in this pot put out new growth at the same time. Or oh, and there's 4 pieces in here actually. And the 4th one is also putting out new growth. I don't know if you can see that, like right here. Anyway, it's just a really fun plant to grow and one of those that you just kind of forget about, which I really enjoy having plants like this when I also have other things that are much more needy. I'm wondering why I decided to wear white jeans on this day, like literally white jeans. That's very silly of me. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is this bulb auger. Okay, so it attaches to a power drill. So this is our drill, another DeWalt drill. We like DeWalt, we're a DeWalt family. And this is from Power Planter, which is a really awesome company. I don't remember, I think maybe they're based out of Illinois. And it's a business that creates augers that you can attach to your drill. And I think you can also attach them to like actual auger like things. I don't know what they're even called, but most people attach them to their drills. And I found out about these because of Laura from Garden Answer. And I bought this, I think from Lowe's maybe like a year ago. And I tried to use it without the handle on my drill and I almost ripped my hand off. It hurt so bad. And ever since then, I was like so nervous to use it. Like I didn't really want to do it again. And so finally I put the handle on it and I used it and it has been incredible. So this has helped me to dig some 3-foot holes out at the greenhouse. If you missed the update on that, I actually did not cement it into the ground yet. So I had to dig some 3-foot deep holes, which is not something that you can do by hand. I tried and I thought that I could, but then I actually started and I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like that is actually really not gonna happen. So I brought this out. I remember that I had this and I was like, wait a minute. I've dug 3-foot holes before in the garden and I used a huge 2-person auger. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe if I just, use this, put a little extra elbow grease in it, I'll be able to have 3-foot holes in no time. And that is true. I actually was able to dig 2-foot holes because this isn't long enough. So I was able to dig down enough to the point where like the handle and this was touching the ground. And then I ordered a taller one. I ordered a 4-foot one, which was a little overkill. I definitely could have just done the 3-foot one, but it was super effective in digging holes. So if you are ever needing to dig post holes and you, number 1, maybe need to do it by yourself, or number 2, you don't want to rent like a huge piece of equipment or buy a huge piece of equipment, you can buy one of these and you can use these in the garden as well as doing like, post holes or other things like that, a little bit more intense projects. It was amazing. I actually used this to help me dig the trench for the garden pavers in my new shade garden, and it made it so much faster. It made it go by so much faster. That took me like 2 days to completely do that. And on day 2, I had it done in like, let's say 2 hours, which is still a long time, but I have clay soil. So it was just like a nightmare to get through. Augers don't tend to do amazing in clay soil. And then you add the element of tree roots plus clay soil. It was an adventure, but it would have taken me so much longer if I didn't have this. So I'm so thankful that I did. So if you're interested in these, I will link them down below. There we go. Power Planter. And I guess while we're here, here's an up close of the actual auger itself. It's kind of dirty because I've been using it, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, friends, the last thing that I have to show you is my Philodendron Villata. And this plant is So exciting. Like, I freaking love this plant. This was given to me by Adam, not Dude. And it's funny because I actually sent him one. I did an import order. We went on an import together. And so I sent him a billy because he asked for a billy. I had never really thought about having a billy at TA until he said that he wanted one, and then I got it in the mail and I was like, dang, this is really cool. So eventually I did get a cutting of the plant, and I'm so happy that I did, because look at how cool these lance-shaped leaves are. Like, I just am so obsessed with long leaves. They're so cool. Like, truly, some of my favorite plants have this shape. I just think they're so unique. This was the original leaf that he sent me, and it was not a top cutting, so it did take a little bit of time for it to put out something. And when it did, it put out this leaf right here. And then after that, it put out this leaf, and then now it put out this leaf. So you can see that they are progressively getting bigger and bigger. And I do think that the next leaf that it puts out will probably compete with this one, which is really cool. Like, yeah, I think it actually will, because they have gotten at least like an inch or two bigger every single time, which is so cool. So anyway, it's potted up in DeWalt tanks. It's in this beautiful pot that I have from Green Things. I actually visited Green Things in May to see if they still had this design of pot, and they did. And they also had more designs like this one. So this is called Talavera Pottery. It's traditional Mexican pottery, and it is some of my favorite. It's so beautiful. Typically it's very, very colorful, and the colorful theme doesn't really go with what I have going on in here. So when I found this style of Talavera, like, it just felt like a really beautiful homage to Talavera. I mean, it is still Talavera, but like, it's not the big colorful stuff. But it's still the same design principle. So anyway, this is one of the original pots that I got from their collection, and they're based out of Tucson, Arizona. Green Things sells them in their pottery section, and I just love them so much. They're so beautiful. They are glazed on the inside, and they have like a nice terracotta and white pattern. They're so pretty. But anyway, yeah, the billy is potted up in DeWalt tanks, as are every plant that I showed in this video. Actually, most of my plants at this point are in DeWalt tanks. I don't think I have anything that's in its original soil prior to DeWalt tanks, actually. Yeah, I'm super excited that I have this, and I'm kind of unsure about where I'm gonna put it long term because it has outgrown the cabinet. As you can see, it's just like it's not like a big plant, but it's a plant that kind of goes like this. And I feel like it's gonna be a little bit of a pickle to control it. And I'm actually not sure if these are climbers or crawlers. Based on the growth habit of Adam's really big one, I think they're crawlers. And just based on what I'm seeing here, it kind of just looks like it's crawling. Like, it doesn't look like it's trying to go up like this one is trying. So I might have to, well, I am gonna have to repot it eventually because there's some roots growing out the bottom, and I am not sure if that's because it really is outgrowing the pot, or if that's because the roots are just positioned right over the drainage hole and like found their way out, because sometimes that does happen. So I'm going to be figuring that out eventually. I think if I see, like, I think after 1 or 2 more leaves, I'm probably gonna have to assess the plant and figure out what I'm gonna do with it. And at that point, I'll probably repot it. We'll just have to see, because I don't remember when I potted it up, but I ended up rooting it. Gosh, you know what? I'm not even gonna say what I rooted it in, because I wanna say it was cocoa peat, but I don't know if that's correct. I actually don't remember, but I think that it was cocoa peat. And then I ended up transferring it to soil, and it's been super happy, so. And that is it for my August favorites video. So hope that you enjoyed hearing some of my favorites this month, and just a little bit of chit chat about what's been going on over here in the DeWalt house, in the DeWalt plant room, in the DeWalt mind. I believe that we are really close to 75,000 followers or subscribers here. Actually, let me double check, because I would really, really love to, gosh, what is this little, yeah, okay. There's like a little mite on my phone. Okay. We are currently at 73,000 subscribers. And if we could hit 75,000 by like the end of September, that would be amazing. And then maybe like early next year, we could hit 100,000. I don't know. That's like such a wild thought to think that my channel could have that many subscribers at some point. And then I'll have like a beautiful little YouTube plaque, and I'll have to figure out where to put it. Oh my gosh, where should I put the plaque? I don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, okay? But it's a really fun thought to think of, like, where am I gonna put it? Maybe on the wicker shelf over here. Maybe it'll get a spot over there. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to 75,000 first. So if you like my channel and my content is impactful or inspiring, or just, you know, makes you love plants more, or encourages you to think more surrounding houseplants, to, I don't know, like gain more sentiment for just the amazing qualities that houseplants have, I would absolutely love for you to share my channel with somebody. If you don't want to do that, you can also just interact with this video, like comment or like, or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because that lets YouTube know that people are liking my stuff, right? All these things, you know, the algorithm, who knows, the powers that be. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.